Hello, and welcome to a very special episode of Two Better Halves. We're calling Two Critical Halves, where we take 5 minutes to talk about the good and 5 minutes to talk about the bad of a certain intellectual property. Today, I am joined by my better half, the same as I'm joined by every day, Sarah.
Hey.
And she's joined by her better half, Lenton.
There he is.
There I am. And today, we're talking about the one and the only Animal Crossing New Horizons for the Nintendo Switch. We have played it every day since release day. For at least 2 hours, probably. I'm just going for at least.
If you combine the both of us, I would say yes, at least 2 hours.
Usually it's a lot more than that. But I'm saying I don't think there has been a single day where it hasn't been that much. So we've gotten to the point where we have everything unlocked in the town. There's nothing else we're waiting on doing. I think Nook's Cranny has one more upgrade just to make it a bigger shop. But besides that, we've progressed very, very nicely. So our first 30 days, it's been 30 days? How long have we had it?
I don't know, but that sounds like about right.
Sure, we'll go our first month of Animal Crossing. Here's our review of it. So let's give you some history of Animal Crossing. Sarah will talk to you about what she knew about Animal Crossing before this game.
I knew that it was sort of an open world game where there's really not like a goal or a destination. You don't win per se. So it was, in my mind, it was very similar to like The Sims or something like that, where you sort of are creating a world, but it's just whatever you want it to be. It's like a virtual sandbox.
That's a good way of putting it. I'm surprised you knew that much about it before it came out.
I did.
First one, 2001, Animal Crossing, just titled Animal Crossing. 2005, Animal Crossing Wild World. 2008, Animal Crossing City Folk. 2012, for the 3DS, one of my favorites. Animal Crossing New Leaf, 2015. We got Happy Home Designer Amiibo Festival, 2016. New Leaf Welcome Amiibo, 2007. Pocket Camp, available on your smartphones, and 2020 New Horizons.
So I definitely had no idea that there were that many. I thought there'd only been one or maybe two before this one. So woefully did not realize how long it had been around.
Units sold in the millions. This is what I'm giving you. 2.3 for the original, 11.7 for Animal Crossing Wild World, 3.3 for Animal Crossing City Folk, 12.2 for Animal Crossing New Leaf, and so far for New Horizons, 8.6. So it's already getting up there real quick. Animal Crossing New Horizons has the number one review out of all the ones currently on Metacritic, which is basically Rotten Tomato for video games. It's sitting at a 91 out of 100. The second best would be Animal Crossing New Leaf with 88 out of 100. So that is your refresher on Animal Crossing. Besides a smartphone, it is only available on Nintendo systems. The Animal Crossing New Horizons is available on the Nintendo Switch. So if you don't have a Switch, this don't matter to you.
Okay, then. Are we ready to get...
Someone out there is one of those Xbox nerds. He's like, first-person shooters, Fortnite.
Well, if first-person shooters are your main type of game, then this is probably not the game for you.
I started playing a first-person shooter, Doom Eternal. Maybe I should do a review of that. It'd be very lonely, though. I can get Stuart up here. All right, so whenever you're ready with the timer.
Are we starting with good or bad?
Oh, let's start with the bad.
Okay, and go.
5 minutes of the bad of Animal Crossing. The thing that jumps out to me first would be...
Are you having a hard time coming up with something?
Well, because part of the stuff that I consider bad also is then... It can be... Nintendo has a way of doing things where they make things a little bit too complicated because they think it's charming, and it's a little charming that it's that complicated, but then it's also really annoying that it's that complicated.
So, for example,
if you are playing with two players on the Nintendo Switch, only one character can open their inventory, their backpack, and get things out. And the second player, if they pick something up, it doesn't go to their inventory, and it doesn't go to the inventory of player one. It goes into a special recycling box, which then player one has to go back and find the recycling box and open up the recycling box and get anything out that player two may have picked up. That just seems like too many steps.
I would agree it discourages multiplayer play, in my opinion.
Which is definitely another bad for me. I don't think that multiplayer is very fun in that. And Nintendo Switch is so good about couch co-op. But there can be a player 2, but then there's still the main player, and they can follow the other player around and pick things up. But again, if they pick anything up and help out, they don't get it. And player 1 doesn't get it. It just gets sent to this box. It is a game with multiplayer, and it is obvious the multiplayer is not the way to play it.
Yes, I would agree. I think that is a problematic part. I think along with that, so we made the decision, even though we do have 2 Switch systems, to share an island and to play as, one unit on the same island. And there is a significant number of things that me, as not the one who set up the island, cannot access or do. And they are things that would be helpful to you, since we are sitting there together, we're playing on the same system, and we're talking to each other, and we're like, hey, we'd really like to build a bridge here, or hey, we'd really like to move this house. I, as player 2, can't do any of those things.
And just so we're clear, she is not player 2. This is her playing by herself on her profile, but since she isn't the first person to ever play Animal Crossing on that system, she now has all these restrictions where she can't do a lot of things that would help progress the main, I guess you call it story. It's not really story. The main things that happen in the game. Yeah. She can't do any of those things.
And that's a little bit frustrating. It's one of those things where I didn't think I would like the game. And so I played as being on your island to start with. Then now I've invested, as you said, a lot of time. So I don't want to start over on a different system with my own island from scratch, because I would lose all of the effort I've put in this far. But I can't actually play the game to its fullest either.
Yeah. And then there are the trying to position when you're shoveling or when you're planting a flower. You can't just walk up to a spot and be like, this is the spot I want to put this on. This is going to be easy. It has to be the placement that is necessary in order to plant something. You have to be facing
just the right way and standing in just the right spot.
And there's nothing that tells you it. I wish there was a button that, like, if you push up on the right stick while you're there, push it in, hit the R3, which is what you would call it on the PlayStation. It shows you this is the spot that is your target zone. This is what's happening, and then you can choose what are your target. Because if you're standing in a spot, you should be able to do it anywhere around you.
Or they do a great job in the house. When you're in the house, after you place everything, you can push that little down button, and it pulls up the map of the room, and then you can rearrange things once it's there to wherever you want. And that is such a useful feature, but you can't do it outside.
Now, see, that doesn't bother me. I think that's part of the charm. Because when you do it inside the house, it brings up like a cursor, and it feels more like you're not living it. You're on your computer designing a house. Outside, I don't think it should be like that, where you can pull up the cursor, and it's that easy. It kind of takes like the animation of seeing the guy's planet. I just wish it was easier to target it.
Well, yeah, and it's not so much the placement, it's the movement after the fact. Because after I've tried to do it 3 times and it's still not in the right place, it would be great if there was an option to just pull up that cursor view and move it to where I wanted it to be in the first place. But that is the frustration after having tried to do it several times, especially with the path system. You can build a path and then you can curve the edges to make them look all nice and rounded, but the exact spot you have to be.
That's the bad. And honestly, I'm okay with that being the full 5 minutes, because those are my only 2 complaints, really.
Yeah. Yeah.
Everything. I mean, my number one complaint is when you're trying to get something done and having to be in the very perfect spot. So I guess we'll have to pick it. We'll have to really think about what our favorite things are. So whenever you're ready our 5 minutes of good.
It's going. All right. So I will say I did not think I would like this game at all. I don't like things that it's just free world. I don't like things where there's not a goal. I like to feel accomplished when I play a game.
Free world?
Yeah.
You mean open world?
Yes.
Free world. This isn't a whale.
I'm sorry. I'm old. That's, I don't know all these slang terms that you youngins know. But, I really like the feeling of accomplishment when I win the game. And this is not a game that you can win. So I didn't think I'd like it. But I've been really surprised. And I think that a part of it is it just came at the right time. It is a time where it is nice to have something that there's no stakes. I don't feel pressure. I don't feel bad about myself if I lose, because you can't lose. So there's no way for things to go wrong. And it's also really easy to do while multitasking. And I find myself in a position now a lot where I am sitting there and I need to be listening to a phone call with 50 other people on it, but I'm not going to talk. So I don't need all of my attention, but I need enough of my attention that I can pick up on the main points. And this is a great game for that, because you don't have to pause. Nobody's going to come and attack you while you're, distracted by some other thing. You can literally just set it there and nothing is going to happen.
Thought when you said attack you, I was like, who in this house attacks you while you play video games? You mean when you're playing the games?
Yeah, so in a lot of games, you would have to actively pause in order to take your attention to something else, because something bad might happen to you in that interim. And in this game, that's not the case. So if something happens on a phone call or a kid comes up and they immediately need something, I don't have to take the time to worry, but I can literally just set it down and go do something else and not worry that anything detrimental is going to happen to me as a result of that decision.
Yeah, there's nothing detrimental. You can get stung by wasps, but if you put the controller down, that ain't going to happen, because you have to shake a tree or hammer a tree. Cut a tree to make the wasp come. But yeah, absolutely. That is the number one best thing about the game. Second best thing about the game, in my opinion, are the freaking animal residents. It is called Animal Crossing. My kids thought it was going to be called Animal Crossing because you help animals cross the street, like Frogger style.
That's a fair.
No, if you don't know anything about Animal Crossing, absolutely. No, it is called Animal Crossing because there's this, I don't know how many there are. There are so many of them. So many characters that will come and live on your island with you. They can come visit your island. You can run into them when you visit other islands. If I go visit my little brother or my sister-in-law's island, there will be different residents there. And just those residents and characters are so thought out and so funny and so unpredictable. And they do so many things that I've gotten to the point where I like to just turn on my Switch and go to the home screen of this game where I can't play at all because it just shows you what the residents are doing currently. And they do some goofy-ass shit. I love it.
Yeah. The other day, when our little Asian, I guess he's an eagle. He's some kind of a bird. He might be a crow.
His name is Ken.
He's
an eagle.
And he was just sitting, facing a cliff, cross-legged. Just sitting there, looking at the cliff.
Meditating. That's like he's got a whole oriental vibe to him. And all the houses are completely different. Everybody decorates their house differently. I ran into him. My sister-in-law sent me a doctor's mask to help stop the virus, obviously. But I already had one. So I went up to him, and you can give everybody a gift. You can give your other characters a gift. So I was like, hey, I brought you this. And he's like, oh, I love it. And he just puts it on right away. Now he's just walking around outside, meditating and stuff, and he's got a little doctor's mask on.
Well, and that's the other thing about it when you give them gifts. So even if it's silly, like I gave one of them a sleeping eye mask, and she put it on right away and just wandered around with her little sleeping eye mask on outside in the daylight, happy as she could be.
You sent was it Diva? You sent the big...
Yes, I got a big spinning wheel. It's just got numbers 1 through 8. It's colorful. You can spin it and get a number. I guess you could play a game with it. I don't know. I sent it to her. She has this tiny little house full of furniture, and half of her house is taken up by this gigantic spinning wheel because she likes me and she wanted to keep my gift. I also gave her a giant sea bass, and the other half of her room is taken up by a container for the sea bass. Because if you catch a fish or a bug and you don't want to do something else with it, you can just display it, and it'll make a little cage for it, and you can display it outside. You can display it in your house, which I think is delightful.
And then some of them, I mean, it's not always anyone you want to give a gift to likes it and they're always happy. Sometimes they don't want the gift. I've had them given back to me before. I've had them offer, oh, wow, I love this. Oh, I don't have anything to give you, but here, I have some money. And then I've had them be like, oh, well, here, let me give you a gift. And then let me give me a gift.
And it works for all ages. Everybody can enjoy this. You can be 6 or 96, and I think you'd like it.
And everyone, oh, man, love those residents. Sorry, timer.
Well, that's it. That's all the
That's
time
our
we
5 minutes of what we didn't like, 5 minutes of what we do like. We rate everything on a 1 to 7 scale. We don't do that 1 through 10 because really there's no difference between a 7, a 6, 6.5, a 3, and a 4. So I have always done it on a 1 through 7. What, if you're going to think 7, your favorite game, the game you think needs the less fixing, what is number 7, one of the best games in your opinion?
Gosh, there's so many that are so good. The first one that popped into my mind was the new Luigi's Mansion.
Luigi's Mansion 3, good.
It was, I love that game.
That is so good.
Because it has some free world aspects to it, but then it also has a clear story that you can follow. It helps you out. I love that game.
Absolutely. That is a great one. Mario Kart 8, I think, is a perfect game. Doesn't need... The only thing I wish was different about it was that there was updates on it all the time, so I could always play it, new things.
Yeah.
I've spent more than my life on that game. Binding of Isaac would be another one I say is perfect.
Yeah, Binding of Isaac is high up there for me, too.
That's perfect. It's a perfect game. Number one, games you think need so much work. Games you've actually played, not a game that you have picked up and then put down.
Okay. This would have been a long time ago. I really tried because my boyfriend really, really liked the first-person shooters, but it was one of the original, I guess, inceptions of Doom. I tried so hard. I tried so hard to like it. I can't. And maybe I like it better now. I'm better at controlling cameras. But I tried. That was a game.
That was Jeff, yeah.
Yeah, and I tried. I tried really hard. I tried multiple times to play that game, and it just frustrated me and made me sad.
Yeah, when I got with you, you were... How old were you when we got together? 34?
Yeah, 33, 34.
33, 34. You did not know how to do the cameras at all. Because I tried to get you to play the Uncharted games with me and like Black Ops, and you couldn't do it. You were so terrible at it. Hilarious.
I grew up on the side scrollers, the classic like Mario.
When I think of the most disappointing games that I have played, Glover drops out to me in 64, and Harry Potter Lego. I was so disappointed in Harry Potter Lego. I know you liked it, but it's the world of Harry Potter, so I expected so much more out of it, and it's the charm of Lego, and it doesn't have the charm of Lego or the world or the charm of Harry Potter in it. So
I would say that having played the Lego Undercover, it is not as charming as Lego Undercover is, for sure.
It takes yourself too seriously. I don't know. I'll play it again when you start playing on the Switch, so I'll play it with you, but I really didn't like it. All right. So, where do we put Animal Crossing? Our first 30 days. We'll do another review of it in another 30 days. Might not actually be 30 days. I just had the Animal Crossing up. Let's see when it actually came out so we can see. When March 20th, it is April 25th. So, yeah, 30 days.
Yeah.
Over 30 days.
So I would say
1 to 7.
Yeah, very pleasantly surprised. There's a lot of mechanics to it that I think are interesting. Like I said, I think it's a game that all ages can play and enjoy, but it will challenge you to the level you want to be challenged. So our 6-year-old runs around, she collects fish, and that's all she cares about. And then she just puts them all outside of her house. She's happy to have the little small house. She doesn't care about collecting the furniture. All she wants to do is fish. And that's great. But then for somebody like me who wants a little bit more variety, I can expand my house. I can collect different furniture. I can, figure out things that I really want to do. Now you can start to landscape the island and build paths and build parks. And so it really rises to that. I do still feel like I may not too soon from now get bored. I know that they have some seasonal things, so I'm hopeful that the fact that the fish change and the bugs change and all of that with the seasons will keep me intrigued. So because of that caveat, I'll give it a 6 for right now.
Okay. I'm right there with you. I'm not worried that I'm going to get bored because I've played the other Animal Crossings. You're always going to find... Because honestly, if what will happen, at least what happened with me, is if I did get bored about the way I'm running an island, well, yeah, I mean, you can run it differently. Like you were talking about, there are just so many ways to play it and so many things to do and so many goals to have in it. So the first 30 days of enjoyment of it, yeah, absolutely, I'll give it a 6. There are a couple of things that make it annoying to play, but there are a lot of games that have like annoying things that you have to deal with because you're trying to get through the level and progress in the game. Because this is an open world, do what you want kind of game. I don't have to ever do multiplayer. I don't really ever have to worry about that. It's annoying, but I can just ignore it and not do multiplayer. I can just not try to plant trees. You like planting trees, so I'll let you plant the trees. And the fact that we can play on our own profiles on the same island, even though we can't really do the multiplayer thing, but I got on there today and I uploaded a real family photo from our family onto the game, and I went and I put it on a canvas artwork painting stand outside of Sarah's house, and so it was a surprise for her when she went outside. The fact that you can do that in a video game that's not like a massive multiplayer online thing, that's really freaking cool.
I absolutely agree, but we just agreed on something.
That's because we love each other.
Yeah, we do.
All right. Talk to you guys later.
Bye.
Bye.